very much for inviting me. I'm a little bit rusty, but I haven't spoken in public since Peter Guyett here invited me down. In what year was it, Peter?
96.
1996, okay, give or take a few years. Probably the last time I stood up was at Bath University about 3 years ago when I presented the premiere of a documentary film I made called Furniture Today, sharing the fantastic work that's going on in Britain. Okay, my presentation today, this evening, is a mixture of meticulous planning and winging it. And that's probably how I make furniture. And I have to say that I haven't been making a lot of furniture recently. I've been spending a lot of my time making music because I found, to be perfectly honest, woodworking over almost half a century, almost, became very isolating to me, but playing music on the streets of Bath and meeting people from all corners of the world and playing guitars that I've made opened up a whole new world for me. So I haven't abandoned woodworking, but I hope I haven't forgotten the kind of techniques and stuff that you're expecting from me. So I'm kind of starting off with a snapshot of my career, and then I'm kind of splitting up the evening into these kind of topics. And then new joints and strategies. This is something that I find really puzzles me in this world of fantastic modern innovation, that hardly anybody is innovating joints, the very essence of woodworking, and also construction strategies. So I would say that this particular area is probably going to be the most, hopefully the most interesting part of my talk. So here we've got a typical cabinet design, the kind of thing that city and guilds, carpentry, tradespeople learn on their course, which is a basic dovetail carcass, a housing joint at the shelf, a drawer with a dovetail, and a panel and frame door with hinges. Very, very fundamental. And this is the way I learned woodwork, and I learned to do it precisely so that the door created a cushion of air, blah, 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 and the drawer, blah, 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 all the precision. And I kind of got a bit bored of that because I learned that the great master of arts and crafts furniture, Edward Barnsley, would often go little tours around the country, loosening up the drawers that he'd made. It's a little secret that Alan Peters told me. And I've often thought, my God, you know, we make this precise kind of metalwork engineering piece of craftsmanship in a living wood that moves. But I've always departed from tradition. So in these next few images, I'm going to show some of my departures from the traditional way of making things. And one of the key points is the amount of clamping, gluing time that a carcass involves, because I have memories of teaching at Riker Wood and lots of other colleges where the students were struggling with about 16 different joints with cascamite on a summer's day going off rather rapidly and getting in a panic, and me having to suddenly pull the plug and say, no, abandon job, get all the clamps off and damp it down and start again, because it ain't, you know, the glue's going off and it's not clamping up. And I thought there's something wrong about the way we make furniture. Well, not wrong, but we can do it better. So tradition has always been my springboard for new ways of making things. As I said before, I always demonstrate. So I had a project, a little casket about this big, with a drawer, and I'd designed this joint, which is a combination of a lap dovetail. Can you see, sorry, I can move back now. Yeah, why didn't I figure this out before? And a few weeks ago, one of my clients from Bristol came back and said, could you do us another bookcase? So I've used shuttering plywood, which you just don't do, with the edge tapered so it really highlights the laminates. And then I did this very simple mitre joint, which is done with the router, of course, glue it together, and then with a jig, add these little pins. So they're little inserts of darkened wood. Very simple, very quick. So I designed this back in 1989. I call it the route curve joint. It's not a good name. So had I changed my name from Jeremy Broun to Jerome Cabriel hyphenated leg, my destiny might have been different. So yeah, so you can innovate and come up with new ideas, but you've got to get the right name and you've got to get it marketed. But it's really low tech. There it is. Basically, I've steam bent a solid piece of wood, and then I've routed it with a massive radius cutter, used an electric kettle to steam it, stretch the fibres, bend it round the jig, and then route in those grooves. That makes sense? Yeah. And then cut out the end. I'm quite chuffed with that joint, because the whole stool is made out of one piece of wood, so it kills several birds. You've got continuity of grain. Admittedly, the wall there is a little bit thin. You could strengthen that with resin. John Makepeace does. I learned the other day he's been making a lot of his furniture with steel pins in it. When it puts glue, did you know that?
What's wrong with that?
Well, exactly. I thought it was all out of natural wood, and he was doing the most amazing nature-defying shapes. Now again, the laptop computer had not taken off. They were beginning to appear in the shops, and I thought that's the next best thing. That was 1997. And it's veneered in Kevesinga Bubinga. It's got maple lippings, it's curved like aircraft wings, you know, quite technical. And I ebonized the maple, the lippings, and I did a tiny routed groove. I love that routed groove. It's called a Danish shoulder. Managing Director of Habitat in Neal Street. Very nice design. Didn't even have an appointment, so I took it on the London Tube. Sat outside his office. The girl said in reception, "You'll never get an interview with him. He's a busy man." I said, "Yeah, but you wouldn't allow one with me." I said, "But he's got to come out to the toilet sometime today." He did. He gave me half an hour of his time, and he said, "This is a beautiful chair, but it's too upmarket for us." That was 30 years ago. But today, Habitat have got Benchmark, who make high quality stuff. See, I did the right stuff at the wrong time. But that's life, you know. You know, I will, probably at the age of 90, I'll have cracked it. Eureka! Success! Whatever I'm trying to crack, I've cracked it.
Thank you, Jeremy. That was really good, wasn't it?